Hey everybody, welcome back to Epic Maker Studio. My name is John, and today we've got our second video for the day. We're still going to try to get a couple more out this week, at least by Saturday before I go to Gen Con. And actually, I have a kind of a Gen Con prep video I am prepping for tomorrow. So if you're going to Gen Con, it might be interesting to you. All right, so let's talk about InCountry. So up on the screen right now, you can see that I've got the Kickstarter up. Kickstarter's long gone. Don't panic. Everything's available. All right. Well, relatively available. Some of the Kickstarter exclusives obviously might not be there, but I still want to use this as an example. So this is a hardcore modern day miniature game. And you guys know that I like small scale, fast play games. That I am tired of the days of forking out $1,000 or more for an army, spending 3 hours per game. Some of you guys like that. That's okay. I'm not going to tell you that you're in the wrong because you're not. It's your game. That's your jam, and enjoy it. I'm just not going to do that anymore. I've done it for 30 some odd years. But I want to move on to other fast-paced, really exciting games that have a much more balanced feel to it. And I had an opportunity last week to sit in on 2 demos that got played in about an hour. I want to say it was like maybe 55 minutes, maybe an hour and 5 minutes or 10 minutes, because it was 2 games played by, I'm not sure what gentleman named Travis. I'm not sure what his participation level is. Maybe he's just like a local organizer. I forgot, and I apologize, Travis. Then we have Julian, who's like the creator or one of the owners of, why am I drawing a blank here? Enemy Spotted Studios, which produced InCountry, along with Kill Wager, 2 very fast-paced skirmish-style games. At any rate, I really enjoy these type of games where when I can only have to spend maybe at best an hour playing it. And even then, that's kind of stretching it, but I can do an hour because there's a lot of smoking and joking that goes along. It happens. Maybe you have to check the rule book occasionally. But outside of that, any game that's like 30 minutes to an hour, perfect. Games that are going a little bit longer, at least in a competitive setting, like Marvel Crisis, which is around 90 minutes, even though the games tend to be about 60 minutes long, sometimes faster if things just don't go your way. But that's really kind of pushing it. And that's really kind of pushing a rules bloat when you look at games like Shatterpoint and Marvel Crisis Protocol, as opposed to, or I've put them almost in the same ballpark, almost, as any game from Games Workshop. Now, there's a reason why you got those rules bloats, because there's a lot of things going on. Not that they're super tactical or strategic games, but it's more along the lines of, they got a lot of armies, a lot of different units, a lot of rules are required, and then you have to balance the interactions. Well, balance. Some companies have difficulties with balance, but the folks over here at Enemy Spotted Studios, or Head Goon, have come up with a balanced game. And I thought Spectre Operations was a balanced game, and it is to most extent, but even then, that game can be a longer game. Once again, depending on the size, I would not say it has the same rules bloat as other games, but it's got some more rules in InCountry. Some of it's unnecessary rules, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So let's just dive into InCountry, because I've already wasted a couple minutes to talk about all these other ones. So they had a successful Kickstarter. Their goal was $6,500 US, and they got 75,000. And that doesn't seem like a lot. That doesn't seem like, wow, some games got like $1 million, $2-3 million. Yeah, they might have, but those games provided a lot bigger, a lot larger product. We look at very successful games like Kingdom Death, one of the most successful Kickstarters out there, and they're still having problems fulfilling their orders, and there was a lot that went along with that. So $1 million, okay, it makes sense. when you look at this and they say it's 900% funded. Well, that's actually a little bit more. I want to say it's 1100% or 11 times what they were aiming for, which kudos to them. They knocked it out of the park. So I'll have links for not the Kickstarter, you can Google that yourself, but at least their main website and their MyMiniFactory, right? They do have a Discord. You can find that all through their website. So they got funded in 20 minutes, which is really awesome. I mean, that means they made $13,000 in 20 minutes, guys. That's pretty amazing. So as you can see some of these images, well, you know what? Let's go with some images. Highly detailed miniatures. So everything is based real world, at least for InCountry versus Kill Wager, which is slightly in the future, or it's light sci-fi ish. So right now this is more modern based, and it's all they said it was 32 millimeter scale. And as I look at these miniatures, I compared. I don't know how well you can see it, but as you can see, the miniatures, they're about the size of the 32 millimeter prints that I got from Turn-Based Miniatures. Except, and I love Turn-Based Miniatures, you guys know I talked about them, but the quality of these models versus Turn-Based Miniatures just blew my mind. And it's not just the level of detail, but it's the attention to detail. And we're going to get into that in here in a second. They've got a variety of troops, from tier 1 operators down to, I think, basically tier 4, which is like untrained civilians and militia and such. So here's some of the things that they've got. They've taken into account when they were designing this game and the miniatures, right? So this is all done by veterans, right? So realistic tactical features. So looking at the miniatures, they've got everything correct about the helmets, including like the little, I can't think of it off the top of my head, but the little IR dealy bobber on the back of the helmets, the retention system for if you got night vision on, they've got their IFAK, or their little tourniquet kits, their drop bags, whatever it is that operators or even soldiers, as you go down the different tiers, it matches up to real world gear that you would actually use. Not over gear, like I've got tons of this gear and I'm rocking all this stuff that I don't need or it's not feasible. No, it's real world, right? Even I love the fact that they've got the holsters for the pistols on the hip instead of those horrible drop holsters. Drop holsters look really cool. I think they look cool from a cinematic point of view or an RPG point of view, like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. But in practicality, I've used both drop and hip and or thigh holster, if that's your thing. The hip holster is better retention, quicker draw, and there's a lot of better features. And the fact that they stuck to that is, I love it. Once again, there's some better miniatures. That's the other thing I want to talk about. And when they're talking about their weapons, every weapon is detailed, from their optics to even their light sources. If they've got a PEQ or something similar on there, some sort of laser sight, laser dot, or you can't see the bolt carrier group, but the upper and lower receivers are accurate for the rifles and the machine guns and whatever else that they're. I think there's a couple that have some sub guns, so everything is accurate. And that attention to detail is not. Most people kind of just skimp on it and go, "Yeah, it's a vague shape of an AKM or an M4 or something like that. It looks about right." And they kind of took that idea and made it a lot more detailed, a lot more accurate, which is, total kudos to them. So right now they've already hooked me. My number one focus, and I know there's a lot of people out there it's growing. We've talked about that before with the skirmish games. More people are shifting their gears to the smaller skirmish games. Because this game right now, from what I understand, the organized play, the tournament play, I'd say will be at Nova Open. I believe it's Nova Open. Let's go with Nova Open. That it's an hour, up to 1 hour to play one game. But these games are about 30 minutes. All right. But 1 hour, when you're playing tournament games, you want to give a little bit more time to get to your table, to set up, break down, that sort of thing. So in 1 hour, I can play one game of this. In 3 hours, I can play 3 games. And if it was like a 5 game series, I could be done day one and still have 1 or 2 other days, depending on the convention size, to play other games or play other rounds or other tournaments of this, which I think is perfect. You know what I can do in 3 hours with Games Workshop? Play one game. Or maybe 2 games. I forget, I think Kill Team, Warcry, and those are around an hour and 30 minutes. I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments below. But I think definitely the Horus Heresy and the 10th edition was supposed to be a better, more efficient way of playing. Still, we're rocking 3 hours. So 3 hours, that's, if you're doing a 5 game series, that's 9 hours day one, and then another 6 hours day two. Or if it's like an 8 or 9 game series, if it's like a super major, man, you are just worn out from playing just 3 games. I would rather spend one day playing, I'll spend 5 hours instead of 9 hours playing games one day, finish my tournament. I still have the rest of the convention to go walk around, look, enjoy, and play other games. That's me. I don't know about you, but I kind of like that. So this, like I said, this is just kind of like the intro to them. I wanted to get their name out there, give you guys a chance to look at them before diving into more detail. Like the next video that we'll do will cover more about the rules. So you can head over to their website. I will have the link in the description below for their website. Like I said, their MyMiniFactory and their YouTube channel. So I want to make sure that you guys have access to everything that they've got available so you can get the best impression possible. All right. So you go on here, fairly easy navigation through their website. There's a couple nitpicky things that I would be like, you might want to shuffle this. I might make a list, submit it to them, see what they think about changing minor little things to help with interacting with the website. But beyond that, very good website. Like I said, nitpicky stuff. They have a rewards program. So basically every dollar that you spend, you get 5 points. And once you get 1,000 points, you have like 100% off coupon off of something. I think that is absolutely amazing. That's really, really cool that they're doing that. And they do 2 different types of miniatures. They have their metal miniatures, which is their primary line. I think they said they use zinc or something else that helps them. They mix in zinc to help them get such refined detail. And I know some people are like, oh, I don't want to do metal miniatures. Well, first, I've never seen metal miniatures get this level of detail. I know Spectre Operations tries to crank out some models. I think Black Site Studios and a couple other companies, they use metal miniatures, and the quality is not quite there. But then I look at other companies like Turn-Based Miniatures, which I love. They don't have that level of detail either. So it's like they're doing resin, but they don't have a lot of detail. These guys are taking, basically the best of both worlds and cram it into these metal models, basically. And the level of detail is insane. I'm painting up a squad right now for a friend, for him and his kids, and I'm just amazed that I can see so much detail that I would expect from premium models, right? Now they also have a print on demand. So if you want resin models, they have a print on demand for those miniatures. So you're not stuck with metal models. But the metal models that I've done so far, they're 2 pieces, the body and then the guns. And that was it. And I had no problem gluing them on. They fit in perfectly, no problems whatsoever. So right now the miniatures are great. And that's, I think I was talking about just a moment ago, is there are 3 things, maybe 4 things I look for in a miniature game. First, highly detailed models, because if the models are not going to sell or are not good enough, I'm not going to get involved with it. I'm really not. I usually like to use the miniatures from the company that is producing the game. I don't want to go, well, I can just use Space Marines or I could use these models from over here. No, no, no. I want to use your models, and that's what's going to help sell your product. And they knocked it out of the park with that. So, bam, they already hooked me. Then the lore is something that kind of it's on the low end of what I appreciate. But the fact that this is real world lore, or if you want to get some cinematic movie action or video game action, I could see some parallels to The Division, Tom Clancy's The Division, Rainbow Six. I can see some Ghost Recon in here, Battlefield, John Wick, Expendables. There's, kind of that fictional universe that you could incorporate into this very easily if that's your jam. But the lore is centered around real world tier 1 through 4, well, 3 operators battling it out. So they've got me with the lore for the most part, because I like modern day stuff or slightly near future. They got me with the miniatures, and then it's the gameplay. And it's not, I can handle complicated games. I like games that are streamlined, that are efficient, and most important, that are balanced. Balanced. Games Workshop, are you listening? Atomic Mass Games, are you listening? Who is that, guys? Privateer Press, I know you're not listening. I like balanced games. And if they're balanced, that means they're fast. That means they're going to be efficient. They're going to be enjoyable to play. I would have said A Song of Ice and Fire, or Fire and Ice, whatever it is, the Game of Thrones game, but they do have a couple hiccups. But that's a Jon Snow issue, nothing else. If you know, you know. And then the last thing is, actually, I think I've covered all of it. So it's just 3 things: balance, quality of your models, and quality of your lore, and they got it. So let's take a look also over here on their MyMiniFactory. So if you want to crank off some of your own miniatures, you can buy the rule book separate, right? And then you could print off your own miniatures, and we'll take a look at the level of detail for their miniatures. See if I can zoom up. So if you join their MyMiniFactory program, you're going to get the Ground Branch team, which is a 4-man, which I like the way that this looks because they look like they're wearing plain clothes. I like plain clothes operators as opposed to them wearing uniforms. It just feels cooler to me, but it's a visual thing. And that's nothing against them for putting people in uniform. It's the universe, right? So you get these 4 guys, and this is the STL file, so keep that in mind. Then they have the Shade Company, which is another, 6 guys? So you're at 10 guys just for joining. You'll have to print them off. But once again, highly detailed, extremely highly detailed. Oh my goodness. You also get a weapons team, or weapon and placement. You get 3 different guys for 1 gun. You can go with your regular soldier, Marine, whatever. You got your Op 4 guy, and then maybe a civilian, or I don't know, not Russian guy. Comes with Dishka. It looks like a Mark 17, an M2, and everybody's favorite, the Gatling gun. Probably like was it M132 or 134, something like that. I forget what it's called. So you get all those for, I think it's $18. Well, plus these guys, the Insurgent Welcome Pack. So if you do the $18, like right now, you can get all those miniatures. So what is that? If we go with the weapon, that's 5. That's 15 models for $18. Got to print them off, but man, buy the rule book, and you've got a starting force right there. So I think this is going to be the game we're going to be focusing on in the future, and I suspect that we are going to see them popping up a lot more because it is better known and operated. They do take care of veteran. Their whole thing is about portions of the sales go to fight veteran suicide, and they're focused on giving back to the community. And they're very charismatic. And I think They're not to kind of just sit back. I don't think just to we made the game, we're just gonna sit back and do nothing. People just buy it. No, they're active from what I am seeing, and they're active on their Discord. I think there's a lot of good things coming down the line from Enemy Spotted Studios, and we're going to be keeping track of them for quite some time, probably at least for the next year. So give them a try. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. Have you heard about them? Have you already bought it? Have you already played it? Let me know what you guys think, and I will chat with you guys later. See ya.